Good evening, my dear viewers. Thank you for coming to my channel. We will be discussing this evening home decoration and what it says about us. I enjoy keeping my house very clean, and despite what my mother would say, I actually take great pride in keeping my living spaces exceptionally and meticulously organized. And I need to do this because I am very active with a myriad of professional endeavors and hobbies. But alas, frequently, my house never looks like the images that I see in magazines and other interior decoration books. And for a long part of my life, this has been a portion of dismay. I have some loved ones as well who continuously spend many hours and tremendous sums of money attempting to decorate their homes and organize their homes in ways that look appealing and beautiful. And sometimes they do, sometimes they are able to do so, but then life happens, and I am frequently, 99% of the time, if I press stop on my life and I look around, my room is a mess. I clean it daily, but I am just doing things so frequently. I am doing various projects, sewing, cooking, juggling, unicycling. I have homework, instrumentalism, compositions, so many different things that I do in a day, and I don't even have children. That frequently my house will get messy in the course of an hour. Well, my house, I mean my room. It will get messy within a few hours. As soon as I am there, it will get messy in a few hours. But the loved ones I'm referring to, and this is also some friends of mine, they lament that they are never able to get their house to look like those pictures or to stay clean like those pictures. Well, I find it interesting that the images we see of what beautifully interior decoration looks like is a mirror to our dissatisfactions in life and how they are purposefully placed there for us in order to garner consumerist behavior and tendencies in us. To get us to consume, to get us to think that something else is responsible for our dissatisfaction, and it is easily obtainable by buying into the system that we currently have. Well, and I don't say that I say that with an optimistic slight. As you can see, the homes that are in these pictures, they all have hardwood flooring with a carpet. That seems to be a recurring theme, a hardwood floor with carpeting. Most Americans, perhaps I am incorrect, most Americans live in apartment buildings, at least certainly where I live, at least certainly the people who complain about their house not looking like these pictures, all wish they had hardwood floors. But apartments don't really have hardwood floors. Most apartments are, except in perhaps the kitchen, most apartments have wall-to-wall carpeting because it is easy to care for and easy to replace. So immediately these advertisements seek to encourage the person to own property, to own real estate, to have lucrative employment that will enable them to own these kinds of properties and real estates, which is exorbitantly expensive. And I've owned several houses in my lifetime, and I can say that the houses were made much better maybe a few decades ago than they are today. So let us take a look at the way that interior design reflects the struggles of the modern man. I wish to preface this by saying, I think these houses are beautifully decorated. I think they are aesthetically pleasing. There is much to admire in them, and I appreciate them as works of art. And I appreciate the work that went into making and decorating these houses. But let's start with this first picture. A beautifully appointed house with so many books that they don't have nary a space on their cabinets for them. They have to keep them on a table. conspicuously far away from any couches. Could you imagine having to get up to get a new book about houses, presumably in a magazine about houses? Very meta. And have to pull aside that Buddhist, I forget what it is, but it is some kind of necklace representing something. I don't know the story behind it. But could you imagine someone being so childishly carefree as to just strew upon that necklace on top of the books that they have, and then also at the same time not have a remote on the table? It seems a little a little strange to me. And I would also find that interesting to notice that they have a television and no remote. Most people keep their remote on the table. And what about that painting on the wall of a happy family and a child? Do you think that they have such white carpets with children? Oh my, and now see here, we have a beautiful Christmas theme. It seems Christmas is a common theme. You'll see later on that in these magazines and these pictures of decoration. It seems Christmas decoration is a very common theme, probably because that is when people have guests coming over. So that is probably when they are most self-conscious and most insecure about their domiciles. So this is one trope that we can see repeating over and over again. That people are afraid of the way people will perceive them, and they want to be perceived favorably by their guests. That is why we see so frequently Christmas-themed decorations in house decoration or housing magazines. Because that is when a person's abode is brought most into question and what it bears about them as a person. Oh, I dare say, what would guests think if they could see the state of my home as it is right now? There are dirty dishes that I have just finished eating my dinner with while doing my homework, next to a camera that I am using to record this, next to some glue from writing some manuscripts, next to hair ties, next to various calligraphy inks. My house is a mess. There is crumpled up paper on the floor, sneakers and socks everywhere. What would my guests think if they knew what I really was, how I really am? So in this video, in this image, we can see that they have a lamp next to a fireplace and candles and what appears to be a chandelier. But they have neglected to put lights on their Christmas tree. And yet, their Christmas tree is decorated and ornamented with the same repetitive kinds of globes. And these globes are exactly the same kind as are on the wreath on the wall. Is this something an actual family would do? Is this the domicile of someone who actually lives here? I don't think that the people who took these pictures live here. I wonder if anyone actually lives here. But I find it strange to believe that no one lives here, because look at how clean and organized everything is, and yet there is a hand towel draped over the couch. Do you see it to the bottom of the screen? And that is another trope we will be seeing throughout these images, that there will be this random object or random towel thrown over the house because they know it looks too sterile. That they know that no one's house actually looks like this, and they are literally throwing in the towel, so to speak, and admitting it, so that it does not look cold and sterile and impossible to attain to the viewer. And those boxes of presents, I don't know about you, but I've never wrapped a box like that in my life for any friends. Do people do that? Do people actually wrap presents for Christmas like that? Do people get boxes to put things in and then put bows on top of them? Do people do that? Do people make those kind of efforts? Does it really enhance the enjoyment of the gift giving? But then behold, there are only 2 glasses. There are only 2. So who lives here? Who are the guests coming? Why would they decorate it this way? There are only two glasses. There are only two people here. Very strange. Another trend you will be noticing is wide open spaces. Conspicuously large spaces. This is larger, this one room is larger than my entire two-bedroom apartment. Probably it's the same for you as well. And here we have a beautifully appointed kitchen. Oh, such childish beauty that we have, reminiscing in nostalgia. I really like the decoration on the refrigerator. They have a toy truck to imply that this is a carefree, childlike atmosphere, free of the inhibitions we have to inevitably experience of adults. That is another trope that we will see here. The escape of responsibility and regression into childhood, into adolescence. For notice there is no dishes, there are no glassware, there is no pots or pans, there is no dishwasher soap, there is no anything that is used for chores and toil. The only thing that stands out is that old-fashioned mixer, which if they're using a mixer like that, isn't it strange that there are no other equipments to be seen? That there are no pots, no pans, nothing for baking, nothing for cooking, or nothing for cleaning strewn about this beautiful apartment? Because, you see, this is no longer a place of cooking. This is a place that wishes to take you back to your early childhood. Hence the rustic designs, hence the minimalism, simplifying our perspectives of the universe. That toy car represents regression into a state where we are no longer responsible anymore, where we can escape our adult responsibilities. What is it that they are really selling us when they sell us houses in magazines? When they sell us furniture and decoration and televisions and computers and tables and chairs and sofas and desks and pots and pans? What are they really selling us? And here you see it again. We see a trope here. A trope, are you picking up on it yet? There is one of those blankets strewn about haphazardly on the couch, to make it look like it's not sterile and empty, to make it look like there is someone who actually lives here, like this isn't just a professional production. And notice you cannot see the person who is taking the camera in the reflection upon the lamp. They have edited it so that it is not, they have edited that specifically so that you cannot see the person taking the picture. That shows to what great lengths these images have been doctored they are images made for people who have yet to live here, for people who will aspire to live in a place such as this, a fictitious place such as this. For you see, there are fake flowers. There are fake flowers in a vase, fake roses in a vase. On top of, I suspect they are fake roses. Would you trust for if they are not fake roses, that means that someone has placed water and roses and flowers on top of some books. Could you imagine a person, again, being so playful, so naive, so careless and free that they would do something like this and then yet have everything so meticulously clean and organized? Have all the photographs aligned in perfect 90 degrees with each other? Could you imagine them having books underneath vases and then underneath a fake candle? Because I can tell it's fake because it's perfectly circular at the top, and that the candle is turned on, and then it has books under, and then there is another book under two more candles that are either fake or they are not lit, and then all of that underneath a lamp. There must surely be a lot of reading done here. This person must really like to read, don't you think? And that's another trope that we keep seeing, the presence of books, But because our home represents who we are, that is why the Christmas decoration is so prevalent in these magazines, in these issues, Christmas and Thanksgiving-y type decorations, because we are afraid of how people see us. And we want people to see us as smart, as intelligent. So this is really saying, you can be intelligent. You can be smart. You can be intelligent. People can see you as smart. People can see you as intelligent. What are they really selling us? Oh, and here we have another Christmas decoration. Again, this is very common in the interior design. If you Google interior design, you will find something related to Christmas. Now, so childish, so carefree are they. Look, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5, possibly 10 or more, since that looks like it's halfway across the fireplace, I think that is. They must have 10 children or so, or plenty of visitors who are all equally childish and carefree and have not given up their youth. They still have those little stockings that we remember from our youth. They still have those. So we again have this idea of regression, of regressing back to a more childlike and carefree state. And look at the table. We have we have these plates that are underneath these gifts, these perfectly square gifts, which means that we don't have guests yet, but we are expecting guests perhaps in the next day or so. I mean, would you put something like this on a table and let it wait? There will be dust on all those plates. Are any guests actually coming? Really? Are there? You're going to have dust on those plates by the time they get here. And there is no plate in the middle on the right. There is no plates. It's just a fork and knife next to, looks like they are wrapped up in napkins, next to a gift on a desk on the table with no plates. Are we really having any guests anymore? I can't remember the last time I've had time for a social interaction outside of work and school. And from what I gather from my peers and from people at work, it's much the same for everyone. They're implying that we have guests, that people care about us, that people are trying to come and visit us, that people want to see us and possibly judge us. And also, the foliage, all that fake foliage is getting into the plates. Is anyone actually going to be eating here? It's getting into the plates. How are you going to serve people food and drink and eat at this table with all that foliage there? And how are you going to be able to conduct conversation with those tall candles in the middle? It's like a wall. No one's coming over for dinner. Ah, my favorite. This is the minimalist design that is all the rage these days. It's supposed to reject wanton materialism, as you can see. They have kept their possessions to a minimum. They have only maintained the bare necessities, such as fake flowers and fake plants, next to a giant screen TV and a mat and a pillow on the ground and speakers in the corner of a room with what look like random bird cages on desks. They in a cement apartment that is so enormously large. And has a fireplace that I can't imagine would heat up the place. That television is too far away from the couch. If you were sitting on the couch, you couldn't see the television. They have made sure to choose only brown and neutral colors to emphasize the aesthetics of this aesthetic. They are not luxurious, wealthy people rolling in money anymore. They are down to earth. They are earthy. They are spiritual. They are not concerned with material wealth. They have a room dedicated to... What can you do here? What is there to do here? There is no remote for the television set again. But there is this giant, massive space, this massive empty space. And what is the appeal of this minimalism? Because they know that the majority of Americans live in cramped apartments. When I was in Longview, I went to visit some friends when I was tutoring at their apartment. And let me tell you, there was a 3-bedroom apartment with 12 people in it. 12 people living in a 3-bedroom apartment. It was beds next to beds next to beds, mattresses next to mattresses laying on the floor for families, for children, everything. This is an example of how we desperately want to escape our current cramped environments, how we are being crammed closer and closer together. And people are desperate to escape it, desperate for room to breathe, to be themselves. And then at the same time, they feel that that is a cold way to be. They feel that it's a cold attitude to have. They don't like that. They wish they could have some time to themselves, some time alone, some time apart from being crammed in everyone else. But then there is that warm fire in the middle of the room, suggesting that you're not a bad person. You're not cold. This is actually warmth. You can be yourself. You can be yourself, and then once you have that peace of mind, you can extend that love to others. That's what this minimalist design is suggesting to me. And here we have another eccentric, playful house. Do you see the regression to childhood? To a not too distant past? We have here little balls randomly on a plate for some reason, next to books on the table, because there just isn't any more space for books. You see it again, so many books that you need a ladder to get to these books. You need a ladder to get to the books because you just love reading that much, right? You just spend all your free time reading on this couch with so many cushions that you can't even sit on it. You just love sitting by the fire and reading all the day long, right? That you need a library filled with so many books so that you can get to them in a staircase. You need a staircase to get to all of your books. And yet you're so organized. You're so organized that this looks beautifully decorated. And it's not messy at all. But yet you still have books strewn about on the on that little, I think it's called an ottoman or something. It's not a table, it's not a couch. What is that thing in the middle of the room? What is that even? What is it for? It's not a table, it's too cushiony for a table. It is too plush. The point I am trying to make is, do you think anyone actually lives in these places? My viewers, I want you to think about this. I will be making other videos in the future discussing about how deeply ingrained unattainability is in marketing. But I want you to know that your house doesn't look like this. My house doesn't look like this. No one's house looks like this. The people who made these images' house probably is much more practical. Are you seeing that these pictures aren't depicting a practical place to actually live? People who wear shoes inside their house have scuffed up floors. People who take off their shoes when they get inside have their shoes next to the door. People or just kicked about somewhere. People have pots and pans that have rust on the bottom. I would love to see interior design and decoration that is practical and that actually takes into account not gimmicks, but actually practical, and takes into account people who actually have to live lives, who have to work, who have to go to school. In my past experiences, I have worked as a housekeeper for various people. And I must say, their houses look similar to this. So much so that guests will say, "Oh, that looks like a hotel," because I maintained it so with such cleanliness. And I took great pride in that. But I was paid a fortune. Well, not a fortune, but consider what it would be like to pay someone $27 an hour to clean your house. That's the going price of a housekeeper in my area. Is that worth it? Is it worth it to maintain a house that looks like this? Because you just have so many hours in a day. You have to sleep 8 hours, you have to work 8 hours. If you go to school, I dare say you can't do both. But then if you have children and if you have aging parents who you must care for, you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do groceries. You will either find that you are lacking in funds or in time to maintain a house such as this. And why would you? Does it serve your needs? Does it serve your interests? I wish I could see more images of houses that are made with practicality in mind. I think that that will be the way of the future. I think that there will be new modes of decoration that also score for practicality, not just appearance. But of course, this is the internet, these are images, these are books. Of course, appearance is going to take the precedent. But wouldn't it be interesting if there was... I think there is great money to be made. One of the things that I wanted to do when I used to work as a housekeeper is I wanted to start a company that organizes people's homes in ways that maximize their practicality and utility. I wanted to set up cameras in someone's house and see how they go about their daily lives. And then, after a month or so of recording, it would be reviewed by a team of professionals who then would think about how they could best organize the house and create a digital plan for these people. And they could either decorate it themselves or they could hire that company to come and organize it in such a way so that it is both beautiful aesthetically and so that it also is extremely practical. I would really like to see that. What do you think? Do you think that that's a good idea for a company? Why do you think we don't have something like that? Do we have something like that? I thank you all for watching. Please have a lovely and blessed day. I love you all.